Africa is the future.
Somebody can get into in today's world.
Okay, I'm going to redefine the term industry. Africa. Here's the story. Follow me on this. 9 of the 20 fastest growing economies in the world are going to be in Africa in 2025. Everybody's overlooking it. Only 0.5% of the world's private equity and venture capital is going into Africa, despite the fact that it's going to be the only continent with a growing population. A marketplace is all about consumers and producers instead of people on the tail end of life that are draining money out of an economy. Africa has a vibrancy.
The best industry somebody can get into in today's world.
Okay, I'm going to redefine the term industry. Africa.
Brothers and sisters, let me tell you something prophetic today. The world is shifting, the systems are shaking, and the foundation of global power are being rewritten before our very own eyes. And when the dust settles, history will declare one undeniable truth. The future of money is black, and the future of wealth is Africa.
I find that Africa can grow 7% to 10% per year for the next 40 years. In 1980, with its 1.4 billion people, China took off. India, with its 1.4 billion people, now 1.5, it started about 20 years after China in rapid growth, around 2000. I want Africa to start now. It's also got 1.5 billion people. It's the same size, actually.
Right. But the additional challenge of being multiple countries as opposed to singular nations.
Well, in 1885, in that very polite Congress of Berlin, the European countries, with no Africans present, took the map and divided up among themselves and colonized the whole damn continent and left it, in the end, as 55 separate countries on one continent where there's one China and there's one India.
Right.
That makes governance hard. And so my point about governance in Africa is be a union, really. Have an Africa continental free trade area. When you plan your infrastructure, don't plan it 55 times. Get that rail to connect across Africa. Get the highways to connect. Get the fiber to connect. Think of it as one country, basically. Think of it truly as a union.
Africa is the future. As I explained in my previous video, the continent Africa has the fastest growing economies in the world. In this video, I'll mention a few countries that you can consider for investment purposes. Let me start by mentioning Sudan, South Sudan, and Libya. If you've been following the news, you know what these countries have been through. And they are currently in a state of recovery. And since they are recovering, they need the basic necessities to set up the industry for rebuilding of the country. So think about medical industry, communication, transportation, manufacturing, agriculture. And by this, I don't mean the products itself, but the infrastructure to create these products. And these things are not the most exciting, but they can make you the wealthiest. And now, the more established ones. Senegal, Zambia, Rwanda, and Ethiopia. In these countries, the basic infrastructure is already there. And they are ready to modernize, and therefore attract foreign investors. But keep in mind, Africa has 54 countries. The North is completely different than the South. Each country has its own opportunities. And if you don't believe me, ask the Chinese. They are already doing a good job. And where the Chinese are, that's why you...
The reason I invest in Africa is because I think it's the best continent on planet Earth. Africa is rich in resources, and from an investment area, it is up and coming. It is being massively developed, and I'm very excited about the continent of Africa. The media will lie about Africa, and it will tell you that Africa is a place of poverty and starvation and desperation, and that is completely not.
Africa is the only way out. It's the golden and it's the holy grail for your freedom. Like, if Americans, African Americans specifically, don't see that investing in Africa changes everything for you, I mean, all the way down to generational wealth. Like, Africa's in a position where if African Americans take position now, you guys, every single African American in America would be a millionaire without even thinking twice, because there's nothing that's not needed over there. So you guys come with the discipline, you come with the knowledge, you come with the resources, and then what you've created just for developing America. Nothing can happen really in America without us. Just think about everything that creates so much revenue for America, from sports to entertainment, to fashion, to medicine. I mean, you name it. We're leading in every single sector, like us. Just imagine if we all just decided to just take all our bags, withdrew all our money, and go to Africa. Where would America be today? It would collapse overnight. Because nothing would, like nothing. Like all of our athletes can go create their own teams. Just, who do you think they're gonna watch? They're gonna watch all of black professional athletes playing in Africa, or they're gonna watch the white professional athletes playing in
For too long, they lied to us. They told us that Africa is poor, that black people are always behind, that we are consumers, not producers, that we beg instead of build. But in reality, the opposite is true. Africa is the richest continent on the face of the earth. Black people across the diaspora are some of the most creative, resilient, and innovative people this planet has ever had. And now, for the first time in modern history, all these forces are aligning to make us the future of global money, wealth, and finance. So that's what I'm talking about today. And that's my prophecy. If you see me wearing this, just know I'm in a prophetic mode. Let me talk the hidden history of African wealth, because it has been hidden. It has been, why it was hidden for long. Before I talk about the future, I must deal with the past. Let's deal with the past, because the lies of the past are what blinded the world to truth of today. Africa has always been the center of global wealth, from ancient Egypt, controlling gold, controlling trade and science, to Mali's Mansa Musa, still the richest man in human history. Black people were the blueprint of wealth. Mansa Musa, the wealth of Mansa Musa literally shocked global economies because he spent so much gold that prices collapsed for years. Imagine one man so wealthy that entire region has to recalculate, their economies just because of his generosity. That is black wealth, and that is African wealth. But colonialism and slavery were not about civilizing Africa. They were economics. They were economic crimes designed to steal wealth. Europe did not get rich by magic. It got rich by sucking the blood of Africa and exploiting the labor of enslaved Africans in the America. Okay? So, the Industrial Revolution was built on African cotton, African sugar, African minerals, and African sweat. The mansions in London, the factories in France, the banks in New York, none of them would exist without the brutal extraction of black wealth. And yet, after centuries of theft, they turned around too and told us that we were poor, told us that we had nothing, told us that to look at Europe as rich and Africa as begging bowl. That's a lie that shaped the modern world. The truth is, Africa is the engine that built global wealth, and now the truth is rising again. We must understand this. Money is not just paper. It is control of resources, labor, and innovation. And for centuries, Africa and black people have been the backbone of all three. The only difference is that we're not controlling it, or we didn't control it. But that era is ending. The control is shifting. The lies is collapsing. The eyes of the world are turning back to Africa because they see what many of us are only now realizing. The future belongs to us. Now, let me talk about the resource revolution, because today Africa holds the largest reserves of natural resources in the world. Gold in Ghana, oil in Nigeria, cobalt in Congo, lithium in Zimbabwe, diamonds in Botswana, uranium in Niger. So the entire modern economy, from smartphones to electric cars, from satellites to AI, cannot function without African minerals. Think about this. Every smartphone in your hand, every battery that powers your car, every chip that runs your computer, there is a piece of Africa in it. And the world runs on African wealth, whether they admit it or not. That is the reality. The future of money is tied to the future of energy. It's tied to the future of technology and digital infrastructure. And guess where the world is going to source these ancestrals or these essentials? It is in Africa. But here is the twist. In the past, Africa exported raw materials for pennies and imported finished goods for billions. It is changing. It is changing right now. Okay, if you have heard African leaders standing and saying that we will be exporting finished raw products, things are changing. They may be talking, but it is in action, because the first step of action, it is by speaking it out. Africa right now is industrializing. It is processing its own resources and cutting out the middlemen And this means that the money stays home and the wealth begins to multiply. Countries like Ghana are already refusing to export raw cocoa beans. Instead, they are processing chocolate at home. Nigeria is working to refine more of its own oil instead of shipping crude oil abroad. Zimbabwe is tightening control on lithium so that Africa companies can produce the batteries of the future. Things are changing, and this is the revolution. It is not just about resources, it's about ownership of value. When Africa owns its value chain, the wealth is unstoppable. And the system knows this. The system knows this, and this is why Western powers keep interfering in African politics. They don't want Africa to rise. They don't want Africa to refine its oil, to process its lithium, or to own its diamond. But the movement cannot be stopped. The new generation of African leaders and entrepreneurs sees the truth. And let me tell you clearly, the world cannot build the future without Africa. And that makes Africa the center of money, power, and destiny. You get me? Now, we have black innovations and diaspora power, because diaspora play a vital role in this game. Okay, black innovation and entrepreneurship, because when you look at diaspora, black Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Europeans, everywhere, they have turned struggle into innovation. From jazz to hip-hop, fashion to film, business to sports. Black Americans or black people, or black in diaspora, generate trillions of dollars of value every year. And something that is powerful is that the innovation of black diaspora always leads culture, and culture always leads market. So think about hip-hop. It started in the Bronx as a street movement, and now it's a multi-billion-dollar global industry. When you look at fashions, cornrows, streetwear, African prints, it was once mocked, but now runway cannot survive without them. Film itself, from Hollywood to blockbusters to Nollywood, black creativity is reshaping entertainment. Okay? For centuries, this value was captured by others. Our culture, black culture, was monetized, but not by us. By record label owned the music, owned by white people. Corporation owned the fashion, studios owned the movies. But now, with the rise of digital platforms, independent creators, and global markets, black people are finally monetizing their creativity directly. That's a good thing. But when you combine African resources with black creativity, you get an unstoppable engine of wealth. Imagine African lithium powering a diaspora-owned tech company. Imagine African diamonds fueling black-owned jewelry stands. Imagine African farms supplying black-owned food industries. That's a revolution unfolding right now. Okay? We are going into a digital finance revolution too. It's called the digital finance revolution. The old systems like banks, Wall Street, and the IMF, the World Bank, was built to exclude black people and Africa. And that's why so many of our communities remain unbanked. So many of African countries remain poor because of the IMF and World Bank. But what they thought was a weakness is actually our greatest advantage, because we are not trapped in the old system. We are freer to leap into the new. Mobile money in Kenya, like M-Pesa, already transformed how people move cash without banks. It started in Kenya. Even America was not ready for it. A farmer in a remote village can pay for goods and services, receive money from the children in the city, and buy electricity with just a simple mobile phones. Okay? And right now, we have something we call cryptocurrency, blockchain, and digital wallet. They are exploding across Africa. You see, while the West is arguing about whether crypto should be legal, Africans are already using it to trade, invest, and bypass corrupt banking systems. Look in Nigeria. Just in Nigeria, young entrepreneurs are building blockchain startups. In South Africa, fintech companies are creating apps that serves millions without bank accounts. In Ghana, diaspora communities are using bitcoins to send remittances without paying high fees to Western banks. Okay? So the future of finance will not be run by Wall Street. It will be run by a young African with a smartphone. Another reason the future of money is black and Africa is demographic. When you look at Europe right now, it is aging. America, it's graying. Japan, it is shrinking. But Africa has the highest number of youngest generation in the continent. And by 2050, 1 in 4 humans on the earth will be African. And this is not population growth. It is economic power. A young, educated, innovative generation that speaks tech, speaks global trade, and speaks entrepreneurship. So the future consumer market is Africa. The future workforce is Africa. The future innovators are Africa. And if money follows people, then the money is following Africa. You get that point, okay? And that's where we come with the diaspora investment and the returning of the Black Americans home. Because Black Americans are waking up too. They are not being left behind. Afro-Caribbeans are waking up too. Black Britons are waking up too. For too long, we poured our labor into economies that never respected us. But now, a mass shift is beginning. Black people are investing in Africa. From real estate in Ghana to startups in Kenya, from farm in Nigeria to tech hubs in Rwanda. The diaspora is returning with their skills, dollars, and vision. This is not just sentiments, it's economic strategy. The money we were denied in America can multiply in Africa. When diaspora wealth meets African resources, then the system cannot stop us. They cannot stop us. And that's why we need unity as Black people. African unity and the right of AFCFTA. Okay? One of the greatest economic revolutions happening right now is the African Continental Free Trade. Hello? One of the greatest economic revolution happening right now is the African Continental Free Trade Area. We call it AFCTA in short. Okay? This is a game changer. For centuries, Africa was broken into small markets, easily manipulated by outsiders. But right now, Africa is building one single market of over 1.4 billion people. And this means that Africa can trade with itself, can build continental industries, and negotiate with global powers as one. Okay? This is what Europe did with the EU, European Union. But Africa's market is bigger, younger, and richer in resources. So the money is not just flowing, it is uniting. Because money is not just minerals or machines. Money is influence. And nobody has more cultural influence than Black people. From music to movies to sports to fashions, Black culture is the most consumed, is the most influential, is the most celebrated culture on earth. Just look what happened in Japan, Olympic in Japan. Is it Olympic, the championship that was happening in Japan? USA became number 1 with a lot of medals. Kenya number 2. And all of them, most of them were Black. So all these white corporations once exploited, now Black entrepreneurs are turning culture into billion-dollar brand. When African fashion meets global market, when Afrobeats rules the charts, when Black athletes own their own leagues, our movies dominate streaming platform. That is economic power. And culture too is money, and we are the culture. Up to there, we have seen why I have said the future of money is Black and Africa. Now, shifting is happening right now. And why is it happening right now? It's because the old system is collapsing and the dollar is losing its grip. The dollar is losing power. The euro is unstable. The IMF and the World Bank are losing legitimacy. Western economies are drowning in debt. But meanwhile, all we see is Africa rising, new alliance with the BRICS, new trade routes with Asia, new financial system built on technology, and the old gatekeepers cannot hold back the tide. Okay? When Babylon falls, Zion rises. And the future of money is not in Washington or nor in London or in Paris. The future of money, it is in Nairobi, Accra, Lagos, Johannesburg. It is in Africa. And that's come to my last thing, the prophecy. All this was prophesied. The prophecy of Black wealth. This is not just economics, it is prophecy. The last shall be first and the first shall be last. Or the stones they were used to stone you with, it will be your cornerstone, something like that. So Black people were pushed to the margins of wealth, but now the tables are turning. Africa is no longer the begging bowl. Africa, it is the treasure chest of the world. Black people are no longer the consumers. We are the creators, the innovators, the leaders, and the new economy. So the future of money is Black. The future of money is Africa. That is my thing. And I have proved it to you. So to my brothers and sisters across the diaspora, do not miss this moment. Invest in Africa, build in Africa, connect with Africa, and stop waiting for the system to give you a seat on the table. Let's build our own table. And to the African youths, you are the generation the world cannot stop. Use your phones, use your minds, use your creativity, build apps, build businesses, build brands. Do not let anyone tell you that you are poor. You are the richest generation in history right now. You just need to claim it. And to the world, I'll say this, whether you like it or not, the future of man is black and Africa. You can resist it, you can deny it, but you cannot stop it. Until next episode, peace out. Katimbe, garangara.